Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, burying 4 Roman settlements, including the most well-known, Pompeii. This historic and catastrophic event has been retold many times in TV and movies. Let's take a look. In order of release, the earliest version we're looking at is The Last Days of Pompeii. This is an Italian film from 1959. It was actually the 8th film adaptation of the novel that was originally published in 1834. This is considered to be very loosely based on the novel. The version supposedly most similar is the TV series from 1984, which, unfortunately, I have not been able to find. Script. This is about a soldier who comes home to Pompeii, only to discover that tragedy struck his family while he was away. He tries to find out who was responsible, falls in love, and is forced to fight like a gladiator. Side note, Christians are blamed for everything. Oh, and in the last 10 minutes, a volcano interrupts the plot and ends the movie. Acting. I watched the dub version in English, which I have to say was actually pretty good. The voices matched the actors decently and weren't over the top like I'm used to. The main character, Glaucus, was played by Steve Reeves. Overall, not a bad cast. Sex and nudity, violence and gore. No sex or nudity, unless you count the constant flashes of Steve Reeve man thighs. There is a tiny bit of love-at-first-sight romance. The violence is mostly in the form of how often we can show off Reeves' big muscles and blind girl bullying. It's 100 minutes long, rated 12+. The next version we're looking at is Pompeii: The Last Day. This is a 2003 BBC docudrama that attempts to show us the last moments of many of the people who died, using the clues their remains left behind. Script. This is about half narration and half dramatization. We watch the scenes of the people who lived in Pompeii and all the horrible things that happened to them, as the narrator explains to us scientifically why it's happening. Acting. I was happy with these performances. They never seemed overdramatized or out of place. The terror, despair, and in some cases denial were performed very realistically. Not enough time is given to fully flesh out the characters, which makes sense since the writers were trying to stick with the small information they have, but you can still feel how horrible of a situation they were in. Sex and nudity, violence and gore. No sex and nudity. The violence is all what happened due to the volcano, and the gore is very minimal. It's about 50 minutes long, rated 12+. Next up is Imperium Pompeii. This is a 2007 Italian TV film. Here we have a completely fictional and impossible tale of people trying to escape from a volcano. Script. It's primarily about a Roman military officer, Marcus. The first part is your typical period drama. Guy wants to marry a girl. Bad things happen to both of them that keep them apart. Guy must solve a mystery in order to save his beloved. The second part adds in the volcano erupting, which interrupts the plot. Now none of what happened before matters, and they just need to survive. Acting. The original is in Italian, but I watched the English dub. I've seen a lot worse dubs than this, but still not great. I thought the main cast did a pretty good job despite some bad dialogue. Sex and nudity, violence and gore. There are some sexual scenes, but nothing graphic. Also a few attempts at non-consensual relations. Most of the violence and gore is at the end while the volcano is erupting, and we see a lot of victims. It's 190 minutes, rated 14+. Now we're looking at Gladiator of Pompeii. This is a 2007 Italian miniseries. It's another completely fictional romantic tale about people living in Pompeii, but this time with gladiators. Script. In a lot of ways, this is very similar to our last option, except instead of a soldier, our main character is a gladiator in love with another slave. Actually, there is a lot of falling in love going on. We have a Roman noble falling in love with a Jewish princess. the Jewish princess in love with someone else, and a Roman noblewoman who just really likes sex and being mean. There's also a strong focus on early Christianity. Oh, then in the last 30 minutes, the volcano erupts. Acting. This is also dubbed in English and was really bad. Some of the voices were okay, but overall really cheesy dubbing, and I had a hard time taking it seriously. Maybe it's 100 times better in Italian. Sex and nudity, violence and gore. There is quite a bit of sex, but nothing super graphic. Lots of side body nudity and talking about sex. In fact, a volcano is erupting and people are still going at it. For the main character being a gladiator, there is very little gore. There are some arena fights, but they are quick and not particularly gruesome. It's 180 minutes long, rated 15+. Lastly, we're looking at Pompeii. This is a 2014 US, German, and Canadian film. This is an equal parts disaster and romance film. Script. The story centers around a gladiator who became a slave as a child. Coincidentally, he's shipped out to Pompeii at the exact same time as the Romans who killed his people. He and a noble lady make a lot of hard eyes at each other. Then Pompeii blows its lid and the whole second half of the movie is spent fighting the bad guys while trying to get away. Acting. This has a pretty great cast lineup with names like Kiefer Sutherland, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jared Harris, Kit Harington, and more. So yeah, great acting all around. That said, the script didn't exactly give a lot of opportunity for memorable acting scenes, with the majority of it being about fighting and running away. Sex and nudity, violence and gore. They absolutely have let's show off all these gladiatorial muscles moments, but no actual sex or nudity. If there is one thing this show has going for it, it's the fighting scenes and visuals. It's bloody, but not overly so. Sure, some of the fighting scenarios are a bit ridiculous, but if I were to ever say a violent volcano disaster movie was pretty, this is it. It's 105 minutes long, rated 13+. Final opinion. The Last Days of Pompeii. If you're looking for a straightforward and predictable plot that takes place in Pompeii, cool, you might like this. This is not for you if you're looking for a disaster movie with a volcano. Pompeii, The Last Day. If you aren't interested in a fictional drama and are really just here to watch the closest thing to what may have actually happened, this is by far your best choice, and a pretty good one if you ask me. Imperium Pompeii. This is the fairy tale version that's the most invested in the different characters' backgrounds. So if you want constant drama that keeps you wondering if these two people who love each other will survive in the end, here you go. Gladiator of Pompeii. Personally, this was my least favorite of the bunch. But hey, if you want the most sexy, unrealistic, dramatic version that just so happens to star a volcano in the last 30 minutes, this was made for you. Pompeii. I actually watched this for the first time years ago when my friend was going through a Kit Harington phase. The only thing I really remembered was my friend going, "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs," when the volcano finally blew. Now, after watching all the rest, I can at least say this is the one closest to actually being a true disaster movie. Despite the shallow plot and far too many convenient coincidences, it's the prettiest option with the best visuals. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out my playlists for more movie and TV comparisons and how to watch historical media in chronological order. Happy watching!